Hello, everyone. My name is James Zamora, and I am a student of UAT. Today, I'll be diving into my project called the Big Ten. The idea of this project is to address an environmental issue. We want to know what the issue is, how do we get there, where are we going, and the also the idea of this project is to come up with a proposal to potentially fix this issue. I want to start by saying that I really am very impressed and happy with the content that I've learned in this class. A lot of issues in the world that we deal with in every day, and I think things like water footprint and things that I'm going to talk about today are so important, and we really kind of just forget about these issues, and we just put things like instant gratification or fast shipping um, in front of us as a luxury that is overlooked. So, without any further ado, I'll go ahead and dive into my project. We'll go ahead and minimize this a little bit so we can go ahead and appreciate some of the illustrations and maybe images that I provided in the slides. But if anything and nothing more, I just want to open the conversation and open the floor to really dive into um, this issue that we're dealing with. So you go ahead and start by saying and then asking if this looks familiar. I wanted to dive into something of an issue that for some of us it seems almost as a very positive moment when we get this packages in shipment in your mail. The reality is that the world has changed. The way we shop has changed. The way we return things have changed. But nothing less. I mean, I as a um, Amazon Prime user, I've gotten used to the one day shipping, to shopping online, ordering stuff, and somewhat expecting it the next day in a very smile package in my door, right? And so also, I've noticed that as I started looking into potential issues to really talk about in this project, this one stood out the most because I do recognize that image, and I think a lot of us do. I think a lot of us recognize the fact that we are getting way more carton board that we really used to. Um, I think that obviously with COVID, with things that the way that we're transitioning as an industry, as a shopping industry, the generations that are coming from a very used to shopping online, putting your credit card in there, paying and expecting the item to show up the next day, will only move this type of way of living and shopping forward, right? So I don't think this is going away anytime soon. I think if anything, we are noticing that the carton footprint, if you may, has grown and it's grown tremendously. Some of the quick facts that I like to reference in this conversation that we're having here today is, obviously, 160 billion packages are shipped in the U.S. each year. That's a lot of packages. Obviously, we don't think about, a hard number when we're seeing these packages outside in our front door. And obviously, we order something. This is a positive. In some articles, you even have people um, almost reference an emotional, not addicting or maybe addicting shopping to, but obviously that whole feeling that you're getting a box in the mail, tracking it, right? So we've gotten used to maybe a tracking number, checking where they're coming from. So obviously, it's a trend that it's gonna stick around. Obviously, we've always seen the abundance of carton due to this um, phenomenon of shopping online, right? I wanted to reference as well, cardboard use equals about 1 billion trees. So obviously, I think we know the old generation recycling us, and we always talk about trees. We always talk about plastic. We talk about recycling, right? Um, but obviously when you reference 1 billion trees, I think it takes us old school to like save the trees, and 1 billion trees is a lot of trees. And that's something that really stood out for me, and it should stood out. That's a lot of carton that we're dealing with, and we obviously, recycling in the U.S. is very big, but the reality, companies like Amazon that are global, obviously are impacting the macro level of our planet. And I think that's something that I really took from this class. Sometimes we don't really take in consideration that a certain government, certain laws, certain acts. Some of them are at a local level, some of them are at a national level. Um, but the reality is this phenomenon of shopping online and getting carton, obviously in abundance, it's worldwide. So if we are considering that this is our planet and our planet is as a whole, the south side can't be doing the right thing and the north side cannot, right? So we consider this as a whole planet and as a whole issue. So that's why it really stood out to me. The fact that we are dealing with this on a daily basis. So we know we have some big guys out there. We're talking about Amazon. We're talking about obviously your traditional shipping. We're talking about the big guys of the world where you shop, right? Whether it's Walmart, you name it. Obviously with COVID, you can't really go out shopping sometimes anymore, and online shopping has only gotten bigger. So with that, we really got to take a look at ourselves and say, hey, how can we possibly fix this if this is kind of how the way the world is operating right now, right? We want to be COVID friendly, if you may. So this is something where really, as an issue, stood out to me. Another thing that I wanted to point out is the Point Break Foundation claimed that by 2025. So if you may, we know what happened, right? So we know COVID happened. We know that the trends of new generations are more comfortable shopping online, and shopping online became a positive thing for the shopper in a sense that you're getting your stuff faster. So we know that it's trending up. We know where it's coming from. We know where we're at, right? We're in shopping time. Amazon's stock is, obviously only going up. At this 2025, which is not too far away, you know, there'll be a 1 ton at a metric ton of plastic for every 3 tons of fish in the ocean. So now let's take it from a look. This is kind of a comfortable feel where we're getting our stuff in the mail. We're okay. We acknowledge the fact that we're getting more carton, but now it starts hitting us where the planet is getting hurt, right? And when you put statistics where 2025, which is not too far from us, we're gonna contaminate our ocean because we're shopping, then it's a bigger problem that we think of. I think that's where it hits you when it's global, when it's no longer at a Pennsylvania level, it's no longer at a U.S. level. It's more of a global issue that we're dealing with right now. Going back to the you know um, traditional or old school recycle themes. Hey, let's save the oceans. Let's go ahead and save the trees, and kind of what we grew up with. Um, doesn't really start hitting home when you start hearing those numbers, right? And I think that's important because there's something that I took from this class. This class really got me in the weeds of, look, this is what's going on, right? Like, this is the closer look to environmental, from a who we are as society, what we're doing as society, what we're doing to the planet, and obviously how can we fix it. I wanted to pick on a giant. I wanted to pick with the elephant in the room, if you may, for this conversation, and I wanted to pick on Amazon. Amazon, is it a solution or a problem? Because at the same time, when you're that big of a guy, when you're that big of a company, you're on obviously on the spotlight, if you may, and it really comes down to what they're doing about it, right? So, Amazon ships, just to reference what Amazon does, Amazon ships 2.5 billion packages a year. So obviously, a year you're shipping 2.5 billion packages a year, right? So, um, that that's going to put you on the spotlight, and some of the things that I found interesting to see what the companies with that many resources, with that many technology, with obviously that big in the game, what their ideas are and what they're doing. And I was disappointed, honestly. I really was disappointed about kind of what they're doing. And I don't know what your feedback is, what you think, but um, I think that is something that, with so much money in their pockets, um, we should be holding them accountable a little bit more, especially if we're talking about worldwide issues, in my personal opinion. Amazon has a frustration free package program designed to produce less waste and put an end to rapid rage. Envelopes have replaced boxes for smaller shipment, and a system has been introduced to ship products in original packaging rather than doubling up. I think that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I think if we want to take a look at that for a second, I think that packaging on the original box, it's a good idea. I definitely think that's smart for us to really, hey, why are we repackaging? You could challenge it the fact that, hey, listen, we want my product to come in as best as possible. We're traditionally, when I think we're stuck in the mindset where when we used to get something in the mail, it had to be in this crazy brown packaging, right? And you know, why not in the original one? Like manufacturers like Sony, like Panasonic, you name it, Apple, they have engineers upon engineers that design packaging. So that product itself is already coming in a very safe design for keeping protected the device type. Um, it's on them. If it breaks, I'm returning it to them. So something to think about. I really do think that that was a good move from Amazon. So you would say that it's something part of the solution. I think they're doing something about it. And also, I have received, and I also wanted to pick on Amazon because I think you at some point, if you're seeing this video, you've experienced buying something from Amazon. I don't want to assume, but with 2.5 billion packages a year, you're a high chance. So I also have seen that they've shifted to the white package, right? It's no longer like a box. It's not package. I think that's also a smart move from them part. It still kind of doesn't address the plastic problem, I personally think. So something to think about there. I think it does slow down the carton, problem. But I also would challenge that it's not an ideal solution, so far. So we go ahead and move to the next part, which is somewhat of the solution. So I wanted to make sure that this is something that I get to state my solution and why I call it the Amazon Prime, and why my angle for this solution. Obviously, um, this is something where logistics, also the end user, which is the customer, right? Amazon as a company that is making money and in business to make money, has to take in consideration. They don't want to spend more money that they have to, so they can't sacrifice in their profit margin. So, this is something that I want to address all those angles. Like if I was a business owner, what would I do to fix this problem and still be eco-friendly, right? And I think there's an opportunity to do a couple things in this proposal. Um, there's the opportunity to obviously incentivize the end user. There's the opportunity to diversify, some of my products, maybe give some exposure to some of my products. Also, I get to look eco-friendly in the world, which as a big company that they are, it's a good image to attract. Hey, Amazon is eco-friendly. That's a good campaign. Um, I think that this particular solution also addresses what we're dealing with, right? Um, at a personal level, my parents, and I participated in this project of we they hold an international, very small scale. It's nothing huge, but at a local level, they hold a logistics that ships international. And some of the things that you would notice on that type of business module is the fact that you're going to be dealing with boxes, right? People come in, they're like, your traditional, um, you know, user that doesn't live here and has family in overseas wants to ship something, and obviously they package it in a box. It was interesting to me how expensive these boxes can be, and that the fact that the shipping at the port will pay for those boxes. So it was interesting that they actually had like an exchange return for me. So I wanted to kind of bring that idea back because I'm not saying that you should ship your boxes for money, but you kind of should, right? You should ship it for some sort of value. And that I think is where I come in and think that Amazon has not only the big tag in the name saying, hey, you ship the most packages a year, uh, but you're also making that type of money. The good news is that you're a smart company as well, which has diversified to different products like Amazon Prime TV. You got movies from Amazon, you got software from Amazon, obviously you got credit cards from Amazon. So you got a lot of products that you can play around with and somewhat incentivize the end user. So my solution, which is Amazon Big Ten, it's to ship the boxes back for free. Amazon services. That's yeah. I think that you can literally say, hey, listen, if you ship this boxes back, you're gonna get half price on Amazon Prime, or maybe you're gonna get Amazon Prime for free, or maybe you get a credit for the movies that they have in Amazon Prime if you are a Amazon Big Ten member. So in some shape or form, rewards on the 10th order from Amazon, I would like them to ship a larger box, right? And the idea here is the fact that I'm familiar with different type of boxes where you've seen and you've touched soft carton board, and then you've touched the big carton board, right? So what that means is that we have the ability to ship a already paid order to an end user, um, in a just way bigger box that they need, with the idea for them to ship the last 9 boxes, last 9 orders that you've had back in this big box. So you got your item on your 10th order. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're an Amazon Prime user, which is the majority of the Amazon, purchaser, I would say that a constant order is expected. So, you probably are surprised your 10th order already. What I'm saying is, on this box, you've been cutting down the boxes, as you get those orders, you put them aside, and then literally this big box comes and you close it, ship it back with a paid return label. Amazon gets these boxes and they get to reuse it. No more production of carton, depending on the box, condition, but you get to reuse that box. It takes a lot of time to break down a box. It takes down a lot of time to kind of go through this hassle. Um, so that's why the incentivization to um, give Amazon products either at a discounted price or for free. Um, Amazon Prime has shows where you get interrupted by a commercial. So even exposure at this point would be beneficial for them. Not only you're going green, but you're also exposing your end customers to new products this way. If I go back to the thought of the fact that I want to be if I was the owner of Amazon, right? If I was Mr. Bezos, I would also consider taking care of my investment on potentially garbage, right? We do have a recycling services that, for our local area, but this is for global, in case of, some other countries don't have the type of logistics that we have here in the United States for recycling, for garbage, for disposal. So obviously taking that in consideration, you also want to make sure that everything is getting distributed the correct way. I wanted to bring this point up because, some of the questions based on this project were, is there any technological implementation that would take participation on this? And I really do think that we have the technology now to perhaps scan um, the box, the condition of the box, and just literally close that gap between not knowing what the end user has to what is getting shipped to Amazon. It could be potentially be reused. I mean, we want to be cautious of what we're shipping there and back and that cost. So, that's why I said, hey, let's go ahead and develop a scanning application using the camera or mobile camera that pretty much will be scanning the condition, the size, and obviously give you an idea of the type of the Big Ten, the big box that's coming, right? The 10th box, the Big Ten. Um, Obviously this would allow the company to quality control the box coming in, whether it be to the warehouse, um, and obviously plan ahead. I think that reusing already paid equipment, already paid boxes or resources, it's a no-brainer. Um, I also reference the fact that the end user is getting motivated, is incentivized by discounts, rewards, or streaming services that Amazon already has. This would allow a happy medium for both of them and also a win-win situation. So that fact is somewhat of my proposal. What I think it could at least should be a membership that you're entitled to. Amazon Prime Big Ten Club would be kind of cool. Um, but with this, we'll address just the quantity in traffic um, that could be reusable, and this would allow us to lower the quantity. So, guys, that's all I got for you guys. My name is once again is Jay Mora. I'm a student of UAT. I am an AR VR major, and this concludes my presentation. Thank you.